The circus that is the long protracted transfer of Morgan Gibbs-White. Everyone knows what's been going on. Marinakis doing his best Marinakis things. Marinakis doing Marinakis things, basically. And let's see what the latest is, because Sky Sports says that Nottingham Forest have now written to Tottenham and Morgan Gibbs-White agent, putting them on legal notice, warning them of the considering legal action over what they consider is an illegal approach and breach of confidentiality. Tottenham believe they have done nothing wrong and they remain interested in completing the deal for Morgan Gibbs-White. So they've just written to Tottenham, they've written to Morgan Gibbs-White representatives, just telling them that we're considering legal action. The Mail are reporting that Morgan Gibbs-White has held talks with Nottingham Forest over his future on Monday morning. His stance has unchanged, though. He remains open to leaving and is keen on the Tottenham transfer. Nottingham Forest are open to selling him for the right price. Ben Jacobs says that Nottingham Forest are offering Morgan Gibbs-White a new deal to prevent the move to Tottenham. More clarity on whether Morgan Gibbs-White's move to Tottenham will go ahead will not be revealed until late next week. Not even early next week, late next week, which is very, very frustrating. An ITK on social media that goes by the name of THFC Himothy says that Nottingham Forest have taken Tottenham to court. The release clause for Morgan Gibbs-White is not all paid for up front. It's over 2 years. Spurs have offered extra money to help negotiations, but the Forest owner wants more. However, it seems that Forest have done something wrong in the legal process and Spurs are filing a complaint. Levy is offering extra money to help ease the negotiations and all situations caused. He first offered one in the region of 1 to 3 million to Forest. However, Levy is not afraid to move on from Morgan Gibbs-White if this drags on or costs more further.
So have we pulled the reverse? That is what Himothy is saying. We've turned the tables. That would be classic Levy to make with the owner Marinakis thinking he's got the upper hand, and then all of a sudden he's pulling that reverse card, and all of a sudden he's complaining about Nottingham Forest for something they've done wrong, which I wonder what that could possibly be. But in terms of the other stuff, the contract situation, I would be shocked if Gibbs-White, if they can convince him to sign a new deal off the back of this whole situation. But if you remember the Olise situation, it was fairly similar, and he did end up signing a new deal at Crystal Palace to ward off interest from Chelsea after it looked like it had all been agreed. So there is kind of precedent in the Premier League for that happening. But if he wants to leave, there's reports, he's only wants Tottenham and he really wants to move. I'll be shocked if Forest can convince him to sign a new deal. I really would, unless Forest really convince Gibbs-White that there's no way they're making this Tottenham move happen. And if that's true, and maybe he would consider a bit of a pay bump, but would they take the release clause out? The contract obviously makes it a lot more difficult for him to move in the future, and obviously probably rules out a move this summer anyway if he does sign a new deal. So I'd be shocked if he signs it. It takes the power away from him. But if he looking for a new kind of pay increase and pay rise in the meantime while this move is stalling or falling through, maybe that's something he'd consider, but I'd be shocked. And that would be a real kick in the teeth if he signs a new deal.
The thing for me is what Ben Jacobs is saying is like nothing's going to be revealed or decided till late next week. I mean, people need to remember, Nottingham Forest need to remember that they're dealing with a human being here, like in Morgan Gibbs-White, a player that wants to kick on with his career, wants to know the clarity of his future. And everything is just up in limbo right now in terms of Forest's transfer business. Where are they going to be next season? Spurs, do they stick twist? Are we going to go for Morgan Gibbs-White? Are we going to get him through the door? Are we going to have to move on? And Morgan Gibbs-White surely needs to know where he's going to be playing next season. Just like I keep saying it, but it just gets more true and more true every single day. Like, this situation is no good for any of the parties. And it's just like such an egotistical kind of sway from Marinakis. Like, what is he trying to get out of this? Because the player doesn't want to be at his club. If he wants a few more million, Levy apparently has offered him a few more million. So what is there left to do here?
If I'm Marinakis and if I'm trying to see where he's come from, he would probably say, yeah, Morgan Gibbs-White probably isn't happy with the situation, but maybe he should have thought of that before reading the release clause.
Yeah, but this isn't even helping Nottingham Forest.
I agree. It's because it's delaying their transfer activity. We know you've got a player who wants to leave, and it's delaying you being able to replace him and reinvest the money. I think it doesn't help them. It only makes it, from a PR standpoint, look like they're trying to keep their best player and they don't want to lose him without a fight. But if it is going to end with him leaving, then the longer this is drawn out, the harder it is going to for them to replace him and things like that, unless they're wanting to replace Gibbs White before they allow this transfer to go through, so they get the best price. Because everyone knows if they sell Gibbs White, the price for whoever they're going for probably goes up by a few extra million. We've dealt with that before. A lot of the time, we're negotiating for a player, and a lot of the times while we're negotiating, we kind of sometimes will sign a player or we'll go for that replacement, and we'll have that deal kind of sealed before we sell the player that we're looking to sell, because we know as soon as that sale goes through, people know that you got X amount to play with, so they put the money up. I think a lot of clubs have had that kind of issue, so maybe that's something they're trying to do, delay it so they can get someone in before they allow the transfer to go through. But at the end of the day, he wants a bit more money out of the situation. He feels like there's been some sort of wrongdoing or whatever, and so he's trying to put a case forward that this transfer shouldn't happen, or there should be a delay in this transfer. He's trying to make it as difficult as possible so he doesn't go down without a fight. He likes to complain. He likes to send these legal issues to various parties. He's doing it again. He's trying to make it as difficult as possible for Tottenham. But if that release clause is there, it looks like he might not have a leg to stand on, but I guess we'll find out next week, really. But I agree, it's a frustrating delay considering we're now 5 days after he was supposed to have that medical, and we thought the deal was done. And now we're in this kind of limbo situation. I still think it will get done. I haven't really heard anything to suggest the deal is off or this isn't going to happen. It just sounds like it's being delayed. Now, that was the initial reporting. It wasn't going to stop the deal, but it's only going to delay it. And that's probably what this is probably what the delay looks like, what we're in now, this limbo state.